Thanks, Tom. Dr. Janet Lapp is an internationally known speaker and consultant who is focused on helping people realize that change presents incredible opportunities as opposed to devastating obstacles. In this clip, she recounts the incredible story of W. Mitchell, a man who had belief in himself enough to overcome unthinkable adversities. Truly, at the end of this story, you'll be thinking to yourself, if he could do it, I can.
And the second thing is don't quit. Keep focused on what's right. I have a friend, W. Mitchell, who reminded me of this. How many of you know W. Mitchell? He was a grip man in the cable cars in San Francisco. A lot of ups and downs in that job. But one day he was on a motorcycle. And the motorcycle careened down. And he loved his motorcycle. He was going down one of the steep hills of San Francisco, and a bread truck was up above him. Unbeknownst to him, had lost his brakes and careened down the hill and crashed into W. Mitchell. And because the gas cap on his motorcycle wasn't secure, it popped off and there was an explosion, and W. Mitchell had burns over 85% of his body, lost his fingers, in and out of the hospital for about 4 years. And I don't know what you would have done, but what I would have done, but what he did is he made a list of all the things that he'd wished he'd accomplished in his life. He just never got around to it. You know, life is so daily. We never do the things that we dream about, do we? Because we're just busy doing our daily life. And so he put a list together and he said, I always wanted to become a multimillionaire, just never got around to it. I always wanted to become a pilot, and I always wanted to become a mayor of a town, so he became the mayor of Crested Butte in Colorado. He started Vermont Castings, which is a multi-million-dollar firm, and he became a pilot. Completely disfigured, no fingers. And one day he was taking off from the Aspen airport in a Cessna 210. He got about 100 feet above the runway and the aircraft stalled. And if you're a pilot, you know it's not a place you want to stall an aircraft. It came down hard. And fearing another explosion, he pushed his friends out. And he started to get up himself, and he realized that he couldn't move. And from then on, he's been paraplegic, completely disfigured. But despite all that, his life is filled with joy. And his lesson is such a simple one for us, but it's so important that each one of us take this to heart. He said, there were 10,000 things that I could do before these accidents, and now there are only 9,000 things that I can do. I choose to focus on the 9,000 things that I can do, not on the 1,000 things that I can't do. What a powerful focus that each one in this room can remind ourselves. Success is an interior job. It has nothing to do with what you look like, how much education you have, or what size facility you have, or where you live in this wonderful world of ours. It has to do with that simple attitude switch, and so many people don't get that. Passion comes with it in. Let other people know who you are. Don't put your face in park like a lot of us do when we get so educated and so senior. We walk along with our policies. All we can do is talk to wastebaskets after the age of 75 if you're like that. Lighten up already. Let people see your face, the passion and the energy. People follow you because of your energy, not because you tell them what to do, because they feel it from you. Let it go. Walk into the fear. Do the stuff that you can't do. And most of all, keep the focus. And as I leave you, I want to remind you of a story about my mother. My mom's name was Grace. And she was turning 91 on the day of her birthday. We're sitting in the church at her funeral, and the priest called her Amazing Grace. And what was amazing about my mother wasn't that she'd accomplished anything great in the eyes of the world, but whenever I came home from school, she'd be standing in the kitchen and wipe her hands on her apron, and her arms would be open. And later on, when I drive home from Montreal to Toronto, where my mom lived, even though it was the middle of the winter, she'd wait for my car, the car coming up the driveway, and she'd step out in the snow. For those of you from the south, that's white, cold stuff, that's fluffy. She'd step out in the snow waiting for us, and her arms would be open as we drove up the driveway. And the last time I saw my mom, she was too weak to move because she'd lost so much weight. And she couldn't say my name any longer. But when I walked in the door, she was lying in bed, and I saw her arms lift off the bedclothes. And then, even then, her arms were open. And that's a power that you have. That's a power that you have, that we all have, to keep our arms open. How simple life is. We make it so complicated, don't we, with all our busyness. We all want bigger things, better positions, more money. My mom saved up her whole life for a set of china. Her whole life she saved up for this set of china. She wanted the complete set. And finally, by the age of 85, she got the whole set. And she covered it in plastic. Covered it in plastic. Didn't want to use it. She wanted to save it for good. And after her death, my sister and I gave away her china because that wasn't that important to her, but I hope that we always keep her open arms and learning how to embrace change, be open to change.
That's it for day 6. Tomorrow is all about action. See you then.